Hey guys, what is up? Landslide 101 here today with another gameplay commentary on the map Arcaden. This game I'm going to be using the silenced MP7 with that sexy hex camo. It's actually a pretty gay camo, but I think it looks pretty cool on the MP7. I'm also going to be using the FMG9 Akimbos because they are awesome. Anyways, I got a little life story for you guys today. Back when I was back in the 6th grade, this is about 3 to 4 years ago now. Not really 4 years, about 3 years ago. And I'm going to be telling you about how I broke my wrist in gym class. Before I get into that, though, I'm going to talk about 6th grade. This was about the mid-year in 6th grade. I was about, I don't know, probably like 11 or 12 years old, whatever you are in 6th grade. And it was probably mid-year when we had gym class. I had this gym teacher named Mr. P. I'm not going to say his last name. I'm just going to call him Mr. P for now. Keep his identity sealed. Let's just say he was a pretty mean gym teacher. I didn't like him that much. He wasn't that good of a gym teacher. Gym class was pretty fun in 6th grade. Way better than it is now in middle school. But we did a lot of fun stuff. But anyways, I'm going to talk about how I broke my wrist, how it went down. Rusty Commander was actually in my gym class during this. We just met that year. That's when we met in 6th grade, and he was there. We're talking the other day about commentary ideas, and we decided to bring this up because it was a pretty funny time how it happened. And it wasn't funny at the time, obviously, but looking back on it, it's pretty funny how it happened, and we decided it would be a good commentary for me to talk about and to discuss with you guys. That was a major spawn point right there. If you guys just saw that, they just all spawned right there. That was pretty crazy. Anyways, it was in 6th grade, and I had gym class. It was around, like, I think it was towards the morning. We didn't have periods in 6th grade like we do in middle school. It's kind of just, like, set times where we go places. We didn't have, like, we had the same classes. We had the same kids in all of our classes. It's not like middle school where you have different kids in all of your classes. And so 6th grade is kind of like you have set times where you go to certain places. And it was the morning, probably around 3rd class I had that morning. It was like a special class gym, and we were playing a game called wall soccer, and of course I had to break my wrist playing the most fruitcake-ish sport out there, but that's kind of how it happened. It was pretty funny and depressing at the same time. And Mr. P described us the rules, and let's just say this game was an accident waiting to happen. This was the dumbest idea for a game like I've ever heard before. Okay, so here's, like, I'm going to describe the game a little bit before I get into how it happened. There's 2 teams from my memory. I'm going to describe it from my memory and how it was, because it was like 3 or 2 years ago. It's a little hard to remember, but from my memory, there was 2 teams. One team stood on this line protecting the wall behind you, and there's about, I don't know, say like 25 kids in each class, so we divided up evenly. Teams, and so each team had the same amount of players pretty much, and one team stood in the middle. It was a gym, so it was like regular basketball regulation court, and that's what the gym class is like. So one team stood in the middle, on the middle line with soccer balls, and the other team stood on the line protecting the wall. So the wall is pretty much the goal, and the people on the line have to protect the ball from going into the goal. And I was on the line, and there's about 12 or 13 other kids on the line, on the middle line, waiting to shoot the ball towards the middle when he says go. So as you can hear, like, just by describing that game, you could see that was just an accident waiting to happen. Of course, when I told my parents about this, they just could not believe how stupid of an idea of a game this was. But the team in the middle, he blows the whistle and he says go, and the teams like they can get a running start if they want to, and they kick the ball as hard as they can, trying to hit the wall. While being the beastly goalie that I was, somebody kicked the ball. It was a pretty hard kick. I don't know who it was. Actually, looking back on it, it was a girl, and that was pretty embarrassing. And no, it was a girl, and the girl, she kicked it, which is pretty embarrassing because she's the one that broke my wrist. She kicked it. I jumped up and put my one hand up to block the ball, and let's just say that ball destroyed my hand. That snapped my wrist back in like a second, and I, being the tough 6th grader that I was, decided that I would try and stay in the gym class and the pain just got to me. I had to get out of there. So I went up to my gym teacher. I lied and said that my stomach started to hurt. Because actually, honestly, after it happened, my stomach started to get a little bit queasy and I didn't feel too good. My wrist was killing me. But I didn't make it obvious that I hurt my wrist. So I just said that my stomach hurt and then I wanted to go to the nurse. So I walk out and there's like this hall going down where you have to go up to get to the stairs. So I walk out of the gym class, I go down the hall a little bit, and I feel sick. So I have to go to the bathroom, and so I go to the bathroom. I actually throw up in the bathroom toilet because of like the pain. I was just in shock from breaking my wrist like that sudden and that fast. And so I threw up in the bathroom. So I went to the nurse and I was like, I just threw up in the bathroom. I think I need to go home because I didn't tell her that I hurt my wrist because for some reason I was stupid and thought that they wouldn't send me home if they thought I had a broken wrist. They would just think that I was just gave a sprain or something. They'd give me some ice because I always see kids walking around with ice. I knew ice wasn't going to cut it in this situation. So I decided to tell the nurse that my stomach hurt and that I threw up in the bathroom. So she did say I looked really pale, but that was just because I was in shock from breaking my wrist and I was in a lot of pain. So she laid me down in this little like bed thingy, whatever you want to call it, and the nurse's thing, and she told me that she was gonna call my dad. So she called my dad. I was still standing there before she laid me down, and I was standing there. She was on the phone with she was talking to my mom, and my mom eventually called my dad to come pick me up. But my mom was at work at the time, and she was talking to my mom, and she was saying that I almost looked like I was about to pass out about how sick I looked. And so she said she went to go lay me. So I laid down in this bed, and so she went away for a little bit. So I was holding my wrist like straight up because it was hurting so bad. So I held my wrist straight up. I was waiting for my dad to come. So my dad eventually came. He's taking me out and he's like, "Oh, you didn't feel good today, buddy. Did you throw up in the bathroom?" I was like, "Yeah." And we start walking to the car and I'm like, "Dad, I think I broke my wrist." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" Because he had no idea that I even hurt my wrist because the nurse just told my mom that I threw up in the bathroom. So she thought I was just sick. And so my dad was totally shocked, and my dad's the kind of person that, if you guys have a dad like this too, he gets mad when he's like scared or something. Like he like takes his, it's not really anger, but he gets like mad when he's like scared or something. So my dad started flipping out on me, and I'm standing there trying not to cry, trying to be the tough 6th grader that I was. And I was 2 seconds away from tears, and I just got in the car and I started to cry because my dad just kept yelling at me, and he didn't stop yelling at me, and then I'm like, and then he saw that I started crying. He started to feel bad. He wasn't really yelling at me. He just was very scared because he didn't know what to do because I was only in 6th grade, and that's nothing like that has ever happened to me before. And so he was kind of in shock too. So he took me home. I actually went to the hospital that day. I did. The nurse came in and she's like, she checked it out a little bit, like she held it, and I was still in a ton of pain, and I was all swelled up and stuff, and she's like, "Oh, it's probably just a sprain," and I'm like, no, I was thinking in my head, no way this is just a sprain. This was killing me. It was hurting so bad. So then I was like, I knew that it wasn't a sprain. So she went to the x-ray room. I got it x-rayed, and it was actually broken. I did actually break my wrist. So I got a nice big blue cast on. And the next day, I might have took off school the next day. I don't know, I'm not sure. But I went in, the next time I went into school, Mr. P, I'm going to call him again, was informed that I actually did break my wrist. So I walk into school that day, and he's standing by the door, opening the door for kids when they get off their bus, and he sees that I have my cast, and he realizes like how he was informed on how I broke my wrist, and so he starts yelling at me for not telling him. So let's just say nobody made me feel good. Nobody felt like I had sympathy at all when I broke my wrist. He started actually yelling at me because I didn't tell him that I broke my wrist, which made me pretty mad because what did you want me to do? I was only in 6th grade, and I know I should have told him, but he starts yelling at me and stuff. And apparently, talking to kids that are now in 6th grade, he actually uses me an example of what not to do during this game, which is pretty embarrassing. I just gotta say, I don't like Mr. P that much, and he was not a very nice gym teacher. But that is the story on how I broke my wrist playing soccer. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I'm approaching the Moab right now. It's a pretty long Moab, not very rushy, but I just want to share this life story with you guys today. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay commentary. Please comment, rate, subscribe on how of an embarrassing story this was on how I broke my wrist. But yeah, I actually couldn't call in the Moab because of the EMP right there, which was pretty sad. But I hope you guys enjoyed this gameplay. I do call in the Moab if you guys are wondering. And I hope you guys enjoyed. And please comment, rate, subscribe.